Hi, everybody, and welcome to session 2 of Music Theory 101 for Plucked strings. So today, let me go over to share screen. We're going to talk about scales, major scales, minor scales, modes. And before we do that, we're going to do a review of the chromatic scale, the chromatics and their functions. So just to review what we talked about last week, the sharp, the symbol here, raises a note 1 fret or 1/2 step. A flat lowers a note 1 fret or 1/2 step. The natural, the symbol here, cancels a sharp or flat and restores the note to its original place. Now it's helpful to look at a picture of music theory, just to review what's going on, because different rules apply to the use of the chromatics in different places here. So at the bottom of music theory, and the reason I place it on the bottom is because most constructs in music theory are constructed from the base up or from the bottom up, if you want to think of it that way. So we always look at the chromatic scale first, in my way of looking at this. In this environment, sharps, flats, and naturals, those chromatics, are functions that apply to a single note of the musical alphabet. So you apply it to one note, and it deals with just changing that one particular note. Major scales, minor scales, modes, pentatonic, that is a 5-note scale. And I talk about that because we play a lot of blues and rock and use 5-note scales. Some folk musics use this. In this environment, the sharps and flats are applied to all of a certain note in order to generate key signatures for scales according to the formulas. And we'll look at that once we start generating major scales. Individual notes may be altered once we get a scale, but they're altered according to the rules of the chromatic scale environment. That is, a sharp or a flat can be applied to a single note and not the global system. And then next week, we'll start looking at chords. Chords are derived from major and minor scales by a formula. The individual members of a chord may be altered by the chromatics according to the rules of the chromatic scale environment. So keys are determined by what note a scale is started on and affects both the scales and the chords working in tandem. So the scales are going to work along a horizontal, and the chords are going to work simultaneously along a vertical. And as I mentioned in class, this is the texture of music theory that we've been looking at since about the year 1600. Before that, there were slightly different rules for how scales or lines operated. Instead of lines and chords, each line had a different way of, or a different rule that allowed it to be placed above the other one. All right, let's move on. Okay. So let's go back to screen share. And we want to do a review of the chromatic scale along a G string, just so you familiarize yourself with that before we start generating the chromatic scales. Okay, so what we'd like to do is say and play the chromatic scale up using sharps and down using flats. You may use either the index finger or the 4-finger pattern that we discussed last time. So I'll just use the index finger as we go up. So we'll do this 3 times. Here we go. Start on G. G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Now we're going to play backwards. Here we go. G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G. Okay, got that? All right, so now let's do that on another instrument. Let's go over to the mandolin and do that on the mandolin. Just for something a little different. But you want to start memorizing this stuff so you know it. And the way to memorize it, play it forward and backwards 3 times every day. Here we go. Start on G. Ready? Go. G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Now we'll play backwards using flats. G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G. Good, we'll do it one more time and let me switch to one more instrument here. So we'll go to the ukulele. We'll work along that G string on the bottom. Here we go. Ready? Go. So we get G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Great. Now we'll go backwards. G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G. Good. Okay. Now we're going to move on to what I call the tetrachord. The tetrachord as the essential scale pattern. So there was a question in class last week about, well, what is a chord and how this tetrachord looks like a scale pattern. And so the answer is a chord is a set. It's like a mathematical set of notes. So they can either be harmonic, like our triads, G chord, C chord, D, D7, or they can be atonal, like just a set of 4 notes. And that set of 4 notes is what we're thinking of when we generate the tetrachord. Next week, we'll start looking at chords, in a more traditional Western way as we use them. So the tetrachord, this is very important for the generation of scales and for identifying the various scale patterns. A tetrachord is a 4-note pattern covering 4 letters of the diatonic scale, that is, the musical alphabet. Because we're studying stringed instruments with a G string, we would generate a tetrachord from the note G, or the open string. Remember, musical structures are generated and measured by the distances between notes. The intervals between 2 notes are how we are going to identify what musical structures are and what kind of qualities they have. Because a tetrachord is comprised of 4 notes, there will be some combination of half steps or whole steps that make up the structure. That's what's going to happen in a tetrachord. In a tetrachord, there will be 3 intervals in a tetrachord. All right, our first example of a tetrachord will be used to help generate a major scale. So the formula as we look at it here is this. a whole step, half step. That's our basic major scale type tetrachord. And what I've done here is I've laid it out visually over the G string so you can see how this works. So we're going to generate the first tetrachord. So from G, we're going to go up 2 steps. So G, G sharp, A. So G to A is our first interval. Then we'll go up another whole step, A sharp, B. That's the second one. And then the third one is B to C. So that gives us a tetrachord over 4 notes, G, A, B, C. Okay. So let's pick up the banjo, and our exercise is to play the tetrachord 3 times, going from G to C, noticing the formula of half and whole steps. All right. So here we go. So we get ready, go. G, whole step up to A. Visualize it on your fretboard so you can see it there. Whole step to B, half step to C. Good. And let's just play that going up again. Ready, go. G, whole step to A, whole step to B, half step to C. Good. Let's do that again. G, a whole step or 2 frets to A, a whole step, 2 frets to B, 1 fret to C. Okay, very nice. So this generates the following bit of scale here. So the scale that we've made with this little tetrachord formula, as you noticed, when we take away the rest of the chromatics that aren't being used, we get this G, A, B, C. That's the first 4 notes of our scale. All right, so let's play this up without looking at the chromatics. Try to visualize this on your fretboard, and you're going to play it forward and backward so you get used to thinking backwards. So we'll play it forward and then backward 3 times. Ready, go. G, whole step A, whole step B, half step C. All right, now we go backwards. Start on C, C, half step back, whole step back, that's B, whole step is A, G. Let's try it again. G, A, B, C. Now backwards. B, A, G. Really visualize the distances. Do this by looking at it on your fretboard. Here we go again. G, A, B, C, C, B, A, G. Great. Good. Okay, so now you know how to generate that major scale tetrachord. Now what we're going to do is we're going to generate the entire major scale. We're going to generate a G major scale because we'll be starting on the note G, the open note. This note is called the keynote or the tonic of the scale. And psychoacoustically, for some reason, when we start on a tone, it automatically in our brain tends to feel like home base. And so we make use of this when we're playing in the different keys. All right, the 2 rules that generate the major scale, or govern the generation of major scales. First is the Tetrachord Rule. The diatonic scales are made up of 2 tetrachords in succession, and the tetrachords are separated by 1 note, either a half step or a whole step. And then the second rule that applies to generation of scales is called the Diatonic Rule. The scale must use each letter name of the musical alphabet once only. So you can't go A sharp. You'd have to go A, B flat, because you've already used up your allotment of A's. All right. The major scale tetrachord formula. Okay, so the major scale tetrachord formula is this. It's symmetrical tetrachords separated by a whole step. So you're going to get the first tetrachord, whole, whole, half. That's 2 frets, 1 fret. Then you're going to go up another whole. I call that the hole in the middle. And then from there, it's whole, whole, half. So we get whole step, half step, the first tetrachord. Then you get another whole step, the hole in the middle, and then you get whole, whole, half again. So let's put this formula over the chromatic scale and see how this works. We've already done this much, so we'll review that much here. So we get G, up a whole step is A, up a whole step is B, up a half step is C. Now, here's the whole step in the middle. So we go from C to D, right? That's the hole in the middle. And then from D on up to G, then we're going to repeat that tetrachord form. So we get, that's our D, whole step is E, whole step is F sharp, half step is G. So whole, whole, half, hole in the middle, whole, whole, half. Just visualize that on this single string, and then you'll be able to see what makes a major scale. First tetrachord, whole, whole, half, hole in the middle, whole step in the middle, and then another whole, whole, half. Okay? Yeah. Now let's remove the notes not generated by the formulas, and we get this for the G major scale. We get G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. Why F sharp? Because we had to raise that F to get a whole step according to the tetrachord rule, right? And we couldn't call it a G flat because we had to call it an F sharp because it had to be some kind of F. You have E, F sharp, G. Otherwise, you'd have E, G flat, G. And that doesn't work over the diatonic rule. All right, so let's go ahead and play the G major scale up and down using finger number 1 and keeping track of where the half and whole steps are. All right, we're going to do this 3 times. Ready? Here we go. G, whole step A, another whole step B, half step C, hole in the middle, D, whole, E, F sharp, G. Now we're going to go backwards. When we go backwards, it's half, whole, hole, hole in the middle, half, whole, hole. Okay, we just run the whole formula in retrograde. So here we go. G, half, F sharp, whole, E, whole, D, whole, C, half step, B, whole step, A, whole step, G. Oh, very nice. Okay, let's do that again. So we get G, A, B, C, hole in the middle, D, now the next tetrachord, whole, E, whole, F sharp, G. Now we're going to do that backwards. G, F sharp, E, D, hole in the middle, C, B, A, G. Right? Michael's rule of 3 says to own it, you have to play it 3 times in succession without making an error. So let's try it again. Start on G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, backwards, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. That's great. So just to review, we have 2 tetrachords. The tetrachord formula for major is whole, whole, half. the two tetrachords are always separated by a whole step. So we get whole, whole, half, the whole step in the middle, whole, whole, half. And going backwards, it would be half, whole, whole, whole step in the middle, half, whole, whole. No matter where you start on the strings, whatever note you start on, you follow these rules and it will generate a different number of half and whole steps. So let's look at fingerings along the strings. So when we go for an open fingering along the string, I usually go open to 1, and then I start making 4-fret patterns with the fingers. I like to keep scale patterns within on the guitar and on the banjo within a span of 4 frets. On the mandolin is slightly different, and we'll look at that in a moment. So for G major along the string, we're going to play G open for guitars and banjos. Okay, G is open. A is the first finger on the 2nd fret, B. Then you move that index finger up to B. Now you're going to use your 2nd finger, C, pinky finger for D. That puts that bit of scale within 4 frets. Shift your index finger up to E, F sharp with the 3rd finger, the pinky with the 4th finger. All right, let's try that again. So starting from the open, we use open, 1 on the 2nd fret, slide 1 up to the 4th fret, B, 2nd finger, C, pinky. Keep that index finger along the string and move it all the way up to the 9th fret, E, F sharp, G. When we make the return, the idea is you're going to keep your index finger on the string and remove the fingers, and then you'll make the shift along the string with the index finger from the 9th fret to the 4th fret, and then these other 2 fingers will come down. But if you keep that index finger down, you always have a tactile reference point for moving up or down. So let's try it from the top. We get G, 4, F sharp, E. Now slide E down to the note B, that's the 4th fret, and then you put 2 and 4 down to catch the D. Remove 4. For C, remove 2. For B, and then you move 1 back, and then G. Let's do that again together, forward and backwards. G, A, B, C, pinky. Shift that index finger to the 9th fret, E, F sharp, G. Backwards, G, F, E. Index finger goes down to the 4th fret, C, B. Okay. Any questions about that? All right. And actually the mandolin, I didn't write this down, but the mandolin can, I think, can do all that with 1, 2, and 3. So we get G, A, B, C, D with the 3rd finger, E, F sharp, G. Rather than using 3 and 4, okay, so that'd be open, 1 slides up 2 frets, 2, 3, 1 slides up to the 9th, index back to the 4th. Oops. And the ukulele, you can use either the guitar fingering or that mandolin fingering, but you get 4, 3, 1, 4, 2, 1, 1, 0. Okay, good. All right, we move on. Now we're going to look at flat keys, generating something with a flat key. So to reiterate, two rules that govern the generation of major or minor scales are the tetrachord rule, right? We have two tetrachords in succession. Our major scales are always separated by a whole step. And the diatonic rule, saying that the scale must use each letter of the musical alphabet once. You can't skip or double up a letter. So now we're going to generate A flat major starting on the first fret of the G string. All right. So we're just going to shift the two tetrachord patterns up by 1 fret. So we're going to start here on A flat. Yeah, you could do this in G sharp too. There are several keys. Well, there are several keys that share the same sound but have a different key signature. So any of them that start on the chromatic places, G sharp, A flat, A sharp, B flat, C sharp, D flat, D sharp, E flat, F sharp, G flat. So any of those keys share a sound, but the key signatures differ. Okay, so we're going to start on A flat and think of it as a flat. So here's A flat. Now we're going to go up a whole step. So 2 frets is B flat. We have to call that B flat. We can't call that A sharp because of the diatonic rule. A, we've already used up an A with A flat, so we can't have A sharp. We have to have A, B flat, according to the logic of our system. Now we go up another whole step. So from B flat, up a whole step is C. All right. Now we go up a half step. We have to call that B flat. We can't call it C sharp because we've already used up our allotments of C's. That's D flat. Now there's the hole in the middle. So we go up a whole step to E flat. All right. And then we go up a whole step to F. And then we go up another whole step that brings us up to G. And then we go up the half step to bring us up to A flat, an octave higher. So you can see in this scale, we have 1, 2, 3. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, sorry, 4 flats. 1, 2, 3, 4 flats that we use. A flat, B flat, D flat, E flat, according to the rules of generation. It gives us those 4 flats. So let's look at that again. Start on A flat. So you get A flat, up a whole step. We have to call it B flat because of the diatonic rule. Up a whole step, takes us to C. Up a half step. We have to call that D flat because we've used up all of our C's. All right. D flat, have to go up a whole step, have to use some kind of E. So we call that E flat. Good. Now we go up a whole step and it's F, up a whole step, G, up a half step, A flat. Okay, so what now we're going to do is we're going to take out all the chromatics in between that we're not using, and that gives us the actual steps of the scale. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, the hole in the middle, E flat, F, G, A flat. Okay, so we're going to now say and play this forward and backwards, saying the names of the notes. So we start at A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. Good. Now we go backwards. A flat, here's the half step, G, whole step, F, whole step, E flat, whole step, D flat, half step, C, whole step, E flat, whole step, A flat. Good. Let's do that again. Here we go. Ready? Go. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, now backwards, A flat, G, F, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A flat. One more time. Michael's rule of three says 3 times. Here we go. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, backwards, A flat, G, F, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A flat. Good. All right. Now we're going to look at fingering considerations when you start on a note up the string. So remember when we started on G, I had you use open and then the first finger at the second step of the scale. Here, you're not going to use an open string. So I have that 4-fret span fingered 1, 3 here. And then we make the shift from 1st fret to the 5th fret. And the next 4-fret span is 1, 2, 4. And then we go all the way up to the 10th fret. And there's your next 4-fret span, 1, 3, 4. So let's try this along a string. So we get 1, 3. Now you shift up to C, 5th fret, 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. Shift up, 10th fret, 1, 3, 4. Okay, now we go backwards. Actually, let's go up again. Ready? 1. E flat is 3. Shift up to the 5th fret. C, E flat, and then shift up F. 3, 4. Let's do that one more time. 1, 3, 5th fret. C, 2, 4. Up to the 10th fret, F. 1, 3, 4. Now we play it backwards. 3, 1. 1 shifts all the way down to the 5th fret. 2 and 4 come in to complete the shape. There's E flat, D flat, C. 1 goes all the way down to the 1st fret. Bring your 3rd finger in for B flat. Great. Let's go back up here and start on A flat again. So we get A flat, 4, 3, F with 1, shift down to the 5th fret, bring in 4, 2, 1, shift 1 down to the 1st fret, bring in 3. Excellent. One more time. A flat, 4, 3, G, F with 1, shift down to the 5th fret, 4 comes down, E flat, 2 for D flat, 1, 1 shifts down to the 1st fret, 3, 1. So that's how you to finger the string on the guitar. And then, all right, so let's guitar, banjo, and any string can do that. So last time I talked about the concept of folding scales over across the strings, because that's how we play. We rarely play up and down a string, you know, unless you're doing some sort of virtuosic thing. We mostly use the melodies across the strings, back and forth this way. So what we do is we fold over the scales once we reach that note on an open string or we reach that note on the next string. So here I'm going to start, this is the guitar, and I'll go through all the instruments separately here. So on the guitar, you get the open G, that's your third string. Oh, I didn't correct that. This A here should be with the second finger instead of the third finger. I'm not going to correct that right now. A, that's second finger, A. Now you get the open B, instead of playing it with the pinky up here, you play the B here. And you'll notice that when we cross to these open strings on the guitar, they're all whole steps. So we get G, A. Now we go to B, the open second string, right? C is a half step away. D is the third fret. Now, instead of going up the string to catch the E, we catch the open E next door here. There. And then 2 for F sharp, 3 for G. Let's do that again. Start down here on the third string. So we get third string, A is the second fret. Then we move over to the B string, so that's open. C, D. Now we move to open E, first string, F sharp, G. And we can do that same thing descending. We get 3, 2, open. We fold it over down to the second string, so we catch the D with the third finger. 1, 0, second finger on A, open. I'll have to get that corrected. Okay. So that's the guitar. All right, 5-string banjo is nearly the same, except that instead of having an E on top, we have a D on top. So the scale starts the same as we do with the guitar. G is open. A is the second fret. Now folds over to the open B, second string, C. Well, you could play the D up here with your third finger, but we're folding this over. So you're going to play the D, the open first string. Then you move up. So your index finger plays the second fret, F sharp on the third fret, pinky on the fourth fret. And banjo, you also know that G right there, you can play on the fifth string open. Let's go back and do that again. So we get G is open. A, second fret on the third string, second finger. B, now we shift to the second string. C, first fret. D now just moves to the open string, high string. There you go. E is the second fret with the first finger. 3, 4. One more time, banjo. So we get G, A, second finger. B is open. C, move to the first string. D is open. Play the second fret with the first finger. E, third finger, F sharp, G. Now let's go backwards. G, F sharp, E, D. Now we have to fold it over to the second string. So C is the first fret. B is open. Now we fold it over to the third string. A, G. One more time with that. So G up on top. G, F sharp, E, D. Fold it over, first fret on the second string, C, B is open. Fold it over, second fret on the third string, A, G. Okay, so, and then we talked about the mandolin, mandola, tenor, banjo, the strings and the string crossings are actually your 2 tetrachords. So you get G, whole step, A, whole step, half step. Then for the whole step from C to D, that's where the string fold happens, right there. And then the second chord is D to E, whole step, half step. So you can either use well, these are the mandolin fingerings. So you get open, A is 1, E is 2, C is 3. Fold it over for D. Whoops. E, F sharp, G. Let's do that again. G, A, B, C. Now we fold it over, D, and we get that same tetrachord. And then G. Now backwards. G, F sharp, E, D. Now we fold it over to the C, whole step away. B, A, G. Okay, and you can practice this up and down on your own until you get used to having that little bit of G major scale. Now, on the ukulele, because the ukulele has a more limited range, what I've done is we're going to fold this scale over from the G string, the 4th string, and make it hop down the octave. Some virtuoso players put an octave lower string on that 4th string. So you get a low D passing then to the C, which would be a little bit higher. But for our purposes and just showing how the scale folds over, we're going to do it this way. So we'll get G is open. A is the 2nd fret. B with the pinky. All right, now we fold it over. C is the open. D is the 2nd fret. Now we fold it again. E is the open 2nd string. F sharp, G. If you don't like using 2 and 4 down here, you can use 1 and 3 if you prefer to do that. So we get G is open, A, B. Now we go to the open C, D. E is the open string. We fold that over. F sharp, G. Okay, let's do that one more time. So we get G, A, B, fold it over for the C, D, E, F sharp, G. And the same thing coming down. Folds are at the same place. So we get G, F sharp, E, fold it over to the lower string. You get D on the 2nd fret, C. Now we fold it over, so B is on the 4th fret, and then A, 2nd fret, G. Excellent, good. So we can, you can practice that at home, up and down. And here we have now A flat major folded over. How do we fold this over when it's, there are no open strings? So let's do the guitar first. So the same logic applies. You're gonna fold it over where the whole steps occur. And you're gonna try to keep the fingers in this 4 fret span on your fingers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 finger for each fret. All right, so on the guitar, we're gonna start here on A flat, B flat. Then we move to the first finger on the 2nd string, C, D flat is 2, E flat is 4. Now we fold it over to get the F, 1st fret, 1st finger on the 1st string, G, 3rd finger, A flat. Let's try that again. 3rd string, A flat, 1, 3. Now we fold it over to the 2nd string, 1, 2, 4, 2, 4. We fold it over again, 1, 3, 4. Let's try it backwards. We'll get 4, 3, 1 on the F. We hop over to the next string and it's 4, 2, 1. 4, E flat, 2, D flat, 1. Now we go to the 3rd string, 3 and 1, 3, 1. Let's do the descending again. Okay, 4, A flat, G, F, next string, fold it over. Now we fold it over again, B flat, A. Okay, and we're going to look at the A flat major scale folded over for 5-string banjo. So here we get on the 3rd string, A flat with 1, B flat with 3, C on the next string with 1, D flat with 2. Next string we get E flat with 1, F with 3. Now you need to shift your index finger up to the 5th position to that G, and A flat with 2. Let's try that again. A flat, B with the 3rd finger, C with 1st finger on the next string over, that's your fold, D flat with 2, E flat with 1, 3, shift to the 5th fret, and then the 2nd finger. Let's do that one more time. So we get A flat, 3rd string, 1. 3 is B flat, shift up, C, D flat with 2, E flat with 1, F with 3, shift to the 5th fret with the index finger. Good, and coming backwards, we'll get 2, 1. Now shift to the 1st fret with your index finger, bring 3 down for F. 1 is E flat, D flat, C, over on the next string, 3 on B flat, and 1. Let's do that again. So up on top here, A flat with the 2nd finger, A flat, G is the 5th fret, slide your index finger down to the 1st fret, bring your 3rd finger under F, E flat, we fold over to the lower string, D flat, C, now I need to fold over again, B flat, A flat. Good. All right, now we're going to look at our mandolin, mandola, tenor, banjo, etc. So A flat. So here we're going to get 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that gives us our tetrachord with a whole step between 1 and 2, 2, 3, and then a half step between 3 and 4. So A flat, B flat, C with 3, half step with pinky, D flat. Now we fold over to E flat, which is the 1st fret on the next string. 2 frets higher is F, G flat, A. A symmetrical pattern on over the 2 strings. Okay, we try this again. A flat. I'm sorry. Let's try that again. A flat. Here we go. B flat. C with 3. D flat. E flat. F. G. A flat. One more time. A flat. B flat. C. D flat. E flat. F. G. A flat. Now we go backwards. A flat. G, F, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A flat. Good, and you can practice that. And now for you, again, we're gonna do this hopping over that string, so you get the idea of how to do this across the strings. So, A flat with 1. B flat with 3, C is open, D flat with 1, E flat with 3, fold it over again to the next string is 1, 3, 4. Let's do that again, starting there on that fourth string. So A flat, B flat, C is the open string, D flat, E flat. We fold it over. F is the first fret on the next string. G, A flat. Good, let's do that again. A flat, E flat, C, D flat is the first finger, E flat, 3, next string F1, G, A flat. Now let's try coming down. Ready? 4, 3, 1. We fold it over. So you go over with your third finger to get the E flat. D flat is 1. C is open. Next string, B flat, A flat. Good. You could repeat that and practice that. Okay, we move on. Now, what I've done here is giving you a list of the major keys, both the sharp keys and the flat keys. So you can see how all the keys work out from the generation of the scales. Beyond the scope of the course to deal with these other keys, I'll deal with that in a later course. The next thing I wanted to talk about was modes and how the modes relate to the major scale. And we'll look at this a little bit more in detail next week. But basically how a mode works is that you have the set of notes that you play for the major scale, and then you start and end on each degree of the major scale to get your new mode. So we'll have our, here, I'll just do it on mandolin. So we get our G major scale that goes G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. We recognize that because it's our do, re, mi scale. So now when we do this Dorian, we start on the second degree of the major scale to get a Dorian. And look what happens. The arrangements of the tetrachords start to change. So what in major is whole, whole, half, separated by a whole, 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 half. Now in Dorian goes whole, half, whole, whole in the middle, whole, half, whole. And that gives us a sound more like this. All right, it's kind of minor-y sounding. The third degree is a Phrygian scale. And we look at the arrangement of our tetrachords here. So it goes half, whole, whole, whole in the middle, half, whole, whole. How about that? All right, so we're starting on B. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. So that's what a Phrygian sounds like. Here's the Lydian. Now, where all these other ones had, other modes had tetrachords that were the same on the top and the bottom, the Lydian is starting to be a kind that doesn't have the same arrangement. So we get whole, whole, whole. If we start on C, whole, E, whole to F sharp, and then the half in the middle. Whole, whole, half. All right. So the top half sounds like a major scale, but the bottom has 3 whole steps. So that's kind of strange for a strange sound to our ear, and then it starts sounding a little more like a major scale. The Mixolydian has whole, whole, half in the bottom, so it's like the major scale, and then whole, half, whole in the top, which is, we're going to find out which is like the minor scale. So we get D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. So it's somewhere halfway between a major and a minor scale. And then minor, which we're going to deal with next week, our second most important scale, we get the tetrachord arrangement looks like this. It's whole, half, whole, whole in the middle, half, whole, whole. All right, so we get E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. And then the Locrian scale is the one that's used least in our Western music because there's a problem with the fifth. It's not the fifth. It's not a perfect fifth. The fifth goes from F sharp to C, which is a really dissonant interval to our ears, and so we find that discordant. But anyways, here's the Locrian: F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. So these modes are used to produce different sonic environments in folk, jazz, classical music. And because of the way that the tetrachords are arranged, they give us different inflections of major and minor. And I will offer a course that looks at the modes in more detail. And this brings about the end of our class for today, and we will continue next week. Thank you all.